Hey guys, welcome back to the Full Co. Today we are going to hopefully have a very quick run through on the Leicester game yesterday. Obviously very difficult day, not least because of the result, obviously. Awful conditions, the weather, just everything yesterday was kind of against us, and it was one of those days where you just, as you're getting soaked and wet and you cold and stuff like that, you just think to yourself, is this really worth it? And certainly, on the way to a game, in the build up, you can justify it to yourself, but after what you've seen and yet another defeat and another really disappointing defeat, you kind of come away from it feeling like, genuinely, is this worth it? Is it worth my time? Am I done with this? Particularly, as we all have so much else going on in our lives, and this is supposedly what we do for fun. This is our entertainment, our social and leisure time, and we spend it, and we spend our money, and we give that to Tottenham Hotspur, and we feel like we're not getting very much back at the minute. So anyway, having said that, let's have a quick look at the Leicester game, see what we can pick out. I've put out a thread this morning on X, and that goes into a bit more detail of one of the biggest issues that I'm really struggling with, and I struggle with Ange's system and the delivery of Ange's system. So with all caveats and mitigations about injuries, players missing, the number of minutes that have gone through the players' legs, not signing anybody to bolster the squad and bolster the team, the recruitment in the summer. All of that being said, I still look at this system and I still look at the way it's executed by the players that we currently have, and I'm left confused and unable to really see what is the little tweak or the switch or the thing that's going to be done by either better players coming in or by the players that we've got executing this better, that is going to make a difference. So if you're interested in that as a thread, go and check it out. You can find it on my X at the Full Co. But it's pretty symptomatic, and it was symptomatic of some of the issues that we had in this game, and reasons I think we conceded the goals we did, and very much so in other games. So this is a consistent all the way back to last season as well. But the game against Leicester, we started well. I think against a team that's low on confidence, we came out and we were doing quite well. I'd say the first 30 minutes, we were fairly dominant. And we also didn't look as tired as I thought we would look, given such a short turnaround time from the return from the Hoffenheim game. In terms of early hours of Friday morning, arriving back, probably stayed over at the lodge Friday, then another training session, a recovery and tactics session on Saturday, and then straight into the game on a Sunday. So, so little time to really do anything, and those players go again. So anyway, we started well. We looked like we had good energy. Sonny looked quite good on the left-hand side. And we created chances as well. And how many times have we said this in games again for a long period of time? Not taking those chances is maybe one of the things that Ange is really leaning on, in terms of, people being surprised, we're looking at wingers and we're looking at strikers and we're looking at attacking options, when, we've got no centre halves, we've got no cover, we've got no fullbacks or no left back. And I think one of the pillars of Ange's system is getting those goals, scoring first, scoring early, or scoring enough goals in games that really takes the wind out of the opposition. So it's almost beating them before they've got a chance to come back, beating them before they've got a chance to really affect you. And I understand that as a philosophy and as a way of going about things, and it could be very exciting. And when we've done it, and when we've been brilliant and we've played well and we've played against some of the bigger teams and we've done it, it feels really good. And you can see it. You can see that, hitting 1 and 2 and 3, that deflates the opposition, and it takes away any resistance that they might have. But we didn't take our chances, and that was an issue. Obviously, we do get the goal that we deserve, and we go 1-0 up, and from that point in, what you're really hoping is, can we Can we increase that? Can we do more with that? I think their goalkeeper was probably player of the match. He had an excellent game, as is wont to happen. A team that's really struggling, their goalkeeper will come to Tottenham and they will have the game of their lives, and they'll get out of there with a result. It's typical. That's what Dr. Tottenham does. And we certainly looked like at a certain point, we ran out of ideas. We stopped having those chances, and then we ran out of gas. And we really couldn't do the running we needed. We couldn't do it. Certainly defensively, we've never really proven we know where to run. But in an attacking sense, all of a sudden the chances start to dry up. It starts to be a bit more kind of stilted, and players looking around for options and putting their foot on the ball and then waving their arms about looking for players. And that will be fatigue. A lot of that will be down to fatigue. So physical fatigue about actually getting around and getting in spaces, but also that mental fatigue of, where should I pass, and doing things quickly and making decisions quickly. So we managed to get ourselves to halftime, but I was thinking to myself, obviously you go in at halftime and you're 1-0 up and you think to yourself, oh, it's okay, come out, get another goal, we'll probably put this game to bed. But we did what Tottenham Hotspur so often do, is we concede at a really bad time. Now, very often we've done it just before the halftime break, so we've been pegged back, which automatically changes the psychology of the game. It gives a lift, a psychological boost to the opposition going in at halftime, and might slightly change how their halftime is. And on your side, the Tottenham side, the psychology goes down, and it's, oh, here we go again, or there's another one, or heads can go down, and it changes what's going to be said at halftime. It changes the thinking of when changes can be made in terms of 60th minute, 65th, 70th, etc. And we didn't do that, but we did the next worst thing, which is come out and within a couple of minutes we've been pegged back. And that speaks to all of those things we talk about in terms of injuries. It speaks to the inexperience of the players who are playing, but there's a mentality, and this is something that predates Ange, and it predates this group of players. It's a Tottenham Hotspur thing. We lack it. We lack that leadership. We lack that strength and that steel. And you could argue that with the number of injuries we've got, you might have had, if we had better players, more leadership in our squad, those players might not be available to us. But it doesn't really matter. You'd rather have those players, and they would have got us through other moments. And I think we lack, as a club and as a squad, we lack that mental toughness. And so we come out, we concede. Leicester, they've got their tails up now. They are, they've had a week to prepare for the game, and they are, going to really come at us and have a go. You could see as well that their press was far more energetic coming out in the second half. And two really poor goals to concede. I mean, it's in keeping with the way that we defend anyway. Those who are not great defenders continue to do not great things, but you add the fatigue and the tiredness, and they're making poor decisions, and they're executing things poorly. So passes being poorly executed, getting cut out, and that leading to chances, or us just not being in the positions that I think we should be to kind of affect the game. As I said in that post on X today, I really, really do worry about where we are starting positions of our players, particularly from a defensive point of view. I understand trying to create overloads in the pitch, and I just don't think that we are starting off in positions that give us balance, both defensively and going forward. I totally get the aggressive press. I totally get the hard running, the continuous, don't let the other team rest. I get it. And you can do all of that. But what you can do is you can have starting positions that gives more balance to the side. And if ever there was a time that I would be looking to implement that, it would be now, when you've got younger players who haven't necessarily got the experience and everybody's so tired. So, that recovery run to get yourself out of trouble is that much harder, or it just cannot happen because players don't have the legs to do it. The particular moment I chose, I think, was the second goal, where we've got a 4v4. We've tried to advance the ball, but Leicester have got it. And they're just inside, I think just inside our half, or just over the halfway line. And Porro presses up, but Leicester in possession of the ball. And we've got a 4v4 standing up in the Leicester City half. There is absolutely no reason for us to try to create that overload in that position. We don't need 4 players. Most teams would only have 2 players up in that position. They try to cover the 4 Leicester players with 2. But you could legitimately do that with 3, look at my X-post, and have the number 6, Lucas Berrival, dropped in. But we don't. We've got Bentancur completely on his own in midfield. And again, Papsar not fit, but he's also in, a low confidence frame of mind, and he's conceding possession far too easily. And Bentancur just running around like a headless chicken. The ground he's got to cover, it's completely thankless. I don't think one player could do it. Honestly, you could bring in whoever the best 6 in the world is, and I don't know who it is, whoever the best number 6 in the world is, you could bring them in, stick them in there, in that situation, and they wouldn't be able to cover. They'd get lucky if they ran the right lines and got to the right places to affect that Leicester City second goal in any way. But, going back to the first goal, again, it's giving the ball away too easily. It's down in that right-hand channel for us, their left-hand side, that ball across. And, you could argue that Kinski is, once he decides to dive out and get that ball, he has to get that ball, because if it goes past him, you're in all kinds of trouble, because even defenders, if that hits a defender, they're going to be facing their own goal. It's going to be really difficult. It is a good ball across, but we don't defend it well enough. We don't do enough to stop the cross coming in. We're not in the right positions to do so anyway. It's flashed across, and once Kinski decides to go, I wonder whether he hesitated. I could watch this one back. Whether he hesitated and then came. I didn't feel like it was so far out that he couldn't get to it along the 6-yard line. But again, once he doesn't, we're in trouble. Vardy gets the break of it because it gets tangled up in between his feet, but it lands nicely for him and he just slots it into an open goal. And the second one, the same kind of thing. It's down in our right back area where, we're pressed up, and it's a very, very easy ball. Instead of trying to pin Leicester in against the touchline and the byline, or force them all the way back and out, we don't. We allow them to go forward with pace. A very easy ball into midfield, nobody there covering, and then just a very easy shot. And it's well executed. It's a good finish. But if you give Premier League players, no matter which team they're playing for, if you give them that much time, they can hurt you, and they will hurt you. And it's Tottenham, so they will hurt you. Super disappointing to concede those 2 goals. Disappointing to concede them so quickly. And then after that, we didn't have the legs. We didn't have the ideas. We did still create a few things. We got forward well. We pressed at the end to try and get an equaliser. I'm thinking of the Mikey Moore chance right at the end where, he's just offside. I still would have liked to see him put it in the net. Bit of confidence for him. You put that ball in the net, and it's a matter that it was offside and it didn't count. You execute your part of it. So again, that's for him. That's a bit of learning for him. But it wasn't great. It wasn't a great performance, as we haven't had many great performances for a very long time. It's another defeat to a very poor Leicester side, and we should, in theory, have had enough to put them away. So there's not a great deal else to say. You'll see it all over social media and people losing their minds about the game. I think the only other thing I'll say, and again, is this me trying to be glass half full? I'm looking at it, the Maddison not playing and the Sarr, the interview by Ange afterwards saying Sarr shouldn't have played, and everybody going mad. Well, you should have played Reguilon and you should have played Archie Gray. On the 2 of those things, I would say that it would have been a big ask for Archie to step forward into the 6 in that game when he's had so much time playing in that defence. And Papsar has clearly put his hand up and said, yes, I can do this. But then he couldn't do it. And you respect the young man for putting his hand up and putting himself in the firing line like that. But by the same token, sometimes you've got to understand and you've got to manage that. Could we have done it better? Certainly. Reguilon at left back against Leicester, I'd argue he could have played that role. And moving Archie Gray forward, everyone's so desperate to see him in midfield. That's why people want that change made. I've got no problem with you deciding to go against that based on where Gray has played the majority of the season. And then deploying him in the sixth when we've got more of our first teamers back and we're a bit more stable. I get that, but it backfired. It didn't work. So we played a player who shouldn't have played and we got beaten, and he didn't do the job he needed to do in midfield. So just like I say with players at the top level, it's about execution. It's the same thing for the manager. Manager makes decisions. If the decision works, credit to you, but when it doesn't, criticism will come, and it is justified. We are allowed to critique and to look at it and say, you tried it and it didn't work. And then the Maddison thing, you know, there's question marks as to whether Maddison and the manager are, you know, in dispute. Have they fallen out? Is there an issue? I think Ange Postecoglou was very clear after the game. He praised Maddison and said how good he was in the week. I don't know whether there's been a falling out, of course, but the other thing that I'm just keeping my eye on a few of these decisions are whether Ange is in effect writing off the league, do just enough, obviously, not to get drawn into a relegation battle, and it really is all eggs in the cup basket. So protecting him for Elfsborg and then potentially the Carabao Cup semi-final against Liverpool. I just wonder whether he's starting to make decisions with the cups in mind and effectively sacrificing league games off the back of that. And then obviously we're all praying that A, that works and we get through to a final and let's see what we can do. And B, it's been said that the club are backing Ange, or they're sticking with him, and they might sign him a player. So hallelujah, 3-4 weeks too late. And, you know, my argument has always been, it's not just about sign, but it's about the money you saved, the 5-10 million premium, January premium you might have to pay. Was it really worth it to lose the Arsenal game, the North London derby, to lose to Leicester and Wolves and Newcastle? Was it really worth it, or would that 5 to 10 million actually be better invested by doing your business early? But that's me on the outside. I don't know the ins and outs of the transfer dealings. So yeah, we look forward. We've obviously got a game midweek as we normally do. Go there, get a win, puts us in the top 8 guaranteed, and then we go through automatically and we avoid those 2 extra games in February. This is absolutely vital for us. We really must get that result, because what it will do is it will give us 2 free midweeks and we will have players getting back. And players getting back, as we see, can very easily get re-injured if you use them too often. So having that time off, play them, get 90 minutes in their legs, but be able to rest them for a week in between is going to be absolutely vital for me to the success of our season going forward. And let's see what we can do in the semi-final. I remain Ange in, not because I'm a staunch believer in his system or what he's trying to do at the moment. I don't see what this system is going to do unless you've got absolutely the best players 1 to 11 in the world to deliver you the system at the level we're playing. But I don't see the point in getting rid of him. I don't see another candidate, someone ready to come in and do better. You give him the Liverpool semi-final, see how he gets on in that one. If we crash out of that one, you know, you could argue any new manager coming in is obviously not going to have a transfer window, just like Ange didn't. But you could then turn your thoughts to, well, actually, we want to solidify our league season and give a new manager a shot at FA Cup and Europa League because we've lost confidence in Ange. So anyway, I'd give him the Liverpool game at the very least. That's it. Managed 18 minutes without saying very much. Sorry about that. Not a great start to the week, but let's move on to Elfsborg and hopefully a positive result. That's it. Have a great week, everyone. Come on, Tottenham.